You know, I often wanted to do a retrospective on JD from New York and or Joe Cronin and or BC Amplified, but to be completely honest, I don't have enough information on all three of them or Shawnsby or anybody from the IWC to really bother doing a full-blown retrospective. So instead, I want to give my thoughts and my perspective on why I feel the way I do about each one of them and where I stand today. Because, to be completely honest, I've also completely fallen off of wrestling for the most part. I'm just so busy doing YouTube stuff, video game streams, and enjoying sports that wrestling has kind of fallen to the wayside for me ever since WrestleMania ended. And I kind of want to talk about the internet wrestling community and what I think about it. So, thank you guys for watching. Please hit the sub button. Let's get right into it. So, there's beef often between a lot of these IWC people in a weird way that you don't see quite often with every other YouTuber and every other industry. But in particular, the IWC has some rivalries. One of the biggest among them is JD from New York versus Joe Cronin. And in general, if you know anything about it, apparently JD from New York sent Joe Cronin a cease and desist letter, which I found to be an extremely pussy move. Cronin, however, will poke him and prod him and constantly bring up him fucking his cat or something crazy like that, or his Mustang, or his lack of height. Clearly, there's some jealousy there because JD has at least double the subs and makes a ton more money than Cronin does. And so I want to get into that a little bit. So, JD from New York, in my opinion, as of this moment, he is the king of internet wrestling talk. He does a post-show following every event. He has all these videos he puts out about rumors and speculations and his thoughts and his theories, and people are looking to him as the king of the IWC. I think that's pretty clear that he's taken the mantle. I tended to watch him way back in 2017 before he was not nearly as popular as he is now. I do watch him a lot less now, but like I said, I've kind of fallen out of wrestling. But you know, he's made some controversial statements in the past that some people didn't agree with, and he seems to, for the most part, have gotten a pass at this point. He very much has played ball with the insiders, and now he has become one for the most part, ditching his outsider ways in order to gain access. And I see nothing wrong with that if he's bettering his business and trying to make more money. I can't fault the guy for getting the bag. So, I just don't find his content particularly interesting as much as I used to. Then we get to Joe Cronin. Joe Cronin, at one point, was able to stay at home and pay his bills with his YouTube channel. And that is no longer the case. Which I find really weird because he still has these gigantic whale donators giving him hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month. Yet he's still struggling to pay his bills. I think he perhaps overextended himself and got too many credit cards, or his car loan was too expensive, or his house was too expensive. And it costs a lot of money to raise children in the Northeast. So I feel for him in that aspect. I would like to see him go on a show like Caleb Hammer and get his finances in order. I think that would be the best advice I can give him. It would also be really neat to see him on the show. Personally, I would find that wildly entertaining. He claims he needs about $7,000 a month to make it, which is outrageous in my opinion. However, he's backed it up and he's shown proof of why it takes that much. So, sadly, he has to try to make $100,000 a year just to break even. And there are definitely some Americans who are in that boat. Now, when it comes to Cronin content, I have been less and less interested in his wrestling takes. I really don't believe he even cares about his wrestling takes anymore. And quite often, I find myself, if I do watch him, I enjoy an episode of Monetize This. Or I enjoy when he talks politics or something else other than wrestling. That is just how I feel. at the moment with Cronin. Something JD will never really venture into too far. And that's why I mostly watch Cronin between the two of them. Although I have fallen off from doing so in general. But anytime I do turn on Monetize This, it feels like it's a fun, nice show. Hilarious, right? Sometimes it can get really boring and long-winded, though. And so it's hard to know when the content will ever be great. I would really like to see some edited clips of Monetize This with some better segments involved that are more sized down so I can, digest it, because I don't have 7 hours every Saturday night to watch it. So I do think there's ways that his content could improve. But he doesn't really care about monetization on his channel more than he does just getting the donos. I feel like in some aspects he could be on his last leg on YouTube, and so for that I feel a little sorry for him. I do think there's ways that he can improve his content. Much like I do on my channel, where I do these shorter videos and I have longer videos, I have a variety of videos, but I also will sit there and live stream and do other things as well. So I wish him and JD nothing but the best. And then I want to touch on somebody named BC Amplified. It's somebody else that I've fallen off from watching. But for a while, he was the guy I was watching the most. Because, like last year, because he has such a passion for the industry. He reminds me of a younger JD. And he really knows how to get excited or angry or rage at the product in the way that gets me to turn on the tube for him. So where I find where I just don't care what BC's saying anymore is the same with JD, and for the most part the same with Cronin. I don't really care about wrestling to even be mad about it anymore, because to me it's even though people are saying it's making a comeback, I find it that it's been pushed out of my life more and more, and I find it less interesting of a topic. So I would love to see BC talk about other topics, and he has in the past. When he covers Packers football game last year, that was really fun. I don't know if he's still doing that because I haven't seen those videos, but I would like that to come back because I enjoyed that very much. And, but the algorithm speaks, I suppose. And then there's Sean's View, who I just look at as a total clown. Like, you can't take this guy seriously. Like, you could take me seriously, even though I'm wearing a mask, right? Right. But you can't take Sean's View seriously. He's got some one-liners that are funny, but for the most part, he's just a pompous ass. So, and he feuds with all of them as well. You got What Culture, you got other wrestling YouTubers and whatnot. But for the most part, I just wanted to touch on those guys because to me, they're like the foundation, the founding fathers of the IWC that really got me interested in general in watching their videos and got me sort of interested in doing YouTube in general. I just didn't want to sit here and cover the wrestling thing week after week. Can you blame me? Maybe if it was the Attitude Era, I would be a lot more excited to do that. But anyway, guys, either way, I couldn't find too much information on any one of these people where I felt like a retrospective would do it justice. So I just wanted to cover kind of the whole IWC, or the people that I care about at least, and talk about their feud a little bit, and talk about how I viewed them and how I watched their product. And hopefully you guys got something out of this video at least. So thank you all for watching. Peace. Have a good one. I'm out.